Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to the Adventures Travel Club television show. Well, Betty, here we are back in the streets of Rome.
Back in the streets of Rome, a delightful place to be.
Yes, indeed, it certainly is. And I'll tell you, I will not forget our trip for a long, long time. Rome is such a beautiful, well, I call it, of course, the Eternal City, right?
Yeah, and I think when we say the Eternal City, do you think, well, I don't know, does that, because it's so old and it goes on forever and ever, that's what eternal means, huh?
That's what eternal means. I don't know if that's an exact designation that they want.
Or not, but I don't know, but it certainly does fit Rome.
It certainly does, that's true.
Yeah.
And this area where we are right now, we're going to the Borghese Gardens. And, of course, I think most of us have heard of the name Borghese, which is a very, very famous name, of course, in Italy. And this was beautiful. I'm just sorry to say, though, that they would not let me take a camera inside to see all of the beautiful statuary and artwork that they had. In fact, they were very insistent that we checked the cameras even before you got through the front door.
That's right. But sister, well, not only sister, a lot of us bought beautiful, beautiful postcards showing the statuary. It was just exquisite. The hands and everything, they just looked like they were alive. It was a wonderful exhibition.
It really is. And for any of you that are going to Rome, make sure that you put the Borghese Gardens on your itinerary, if you would. This is the first time, the few times I've been to Rome, this is the very first time that I had the opportunity to visit here. And I know the first time I went many, many years ago, I had read about it and thought, boy, that's really what I want to see. But finally, after a while, it just takes an eternity to do it, right?
Well, you know what happens, though, this is usually not on the agenda for when you go on a tour. This was an extra that we put in for this particular trip.
And it was a fabulous extra to put in as well.
Yes.
And we can see here, there's some of the drawings of what it used to look like in times of old. But now we're going to jump over to the catacombs. In fact, we are driving out here. And again, we didn't use the camera inside the catacombs because it is way too dark down when you get inside the catacombs. And so anyway, but we're driving over. There are miles and miles, of course, of the catacombs underneath where we are, right, where we are looking from right now.
That was kind of hard getting out, wasn't it, Marv? Huh? It was a lot of room down there.
There's a lot of room down there.
A lot of dead people.
That's not only that, but you can get lost. And because not all of it is illuminated, just a little bit of it is.
You know what? The catacombs are located in the dead part of the city.
The dead part
of
the city?
The dead heart of the city.
Oh, the dead heart of the city.
The dead part was right. I mean, that's supposed to be a joke, but it didn't sound very funny, did it?
I'll laugh anyway.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, it is a ways outside. Oh, this little church right here, Betty, you have history on that, right?
Yes, that's Quo Vadis.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it was... was it Peter that was leaving the city, and Jesus came upon him and said, "Where are you going? Quo Vadis." And, Marv, I think it was Peter, but maybe we shouldn't say that story. It was one of them. They made a movie out of it. I'm sure it was Peter. Okay. And, Peter was the one that kind of changed his mind often about certain things. And so we can attribute that to Peter.
So was Thomas, too, right?
Yes,
Thomas.
Yes.
We're going to kind of give a little retrospective now here of our full trip that we had going, starting, of course, in Milan, which we see right here. And, of course, all of this now that you're seeing has totally been redone. That's what they were working on it. We went in November, and it was absolutely, of course, very, very
it was
inspiring, wasn't it?
This is like what we're doing now, as I understand, is going to be like a kaleidoscope of what you have seen in the past of all of our shows, because unfortunately it has come to an end.
Right.
And so we want to share with you, for those people that perhaps didn't get to see the show, all of the things that you missed. So
we won't see all of them, but you'll see a few of them.
No, but the highlights, some of the highlights anyway.
And of course, what we're looking at right now is the Duomo, or the cathedral in the city of Milan, which is quite extraordinary, I thought. And had you been in here before, Betty?
Yes, I had.
Yeah. It was really something. I was amazed at this. We had actually, the reason that we are visiting here is because we had a layover as far as our flight from Milan to Rome. And so we had the opportunity, and boy, we grabbed it too right away to take a tour of Milan.
Yes, I have a great wholesaler, a really fabulous man that we've done business with for 14 years. And when I complained a little bit about the layover, he said, "Well, that's all right, Betty. We'll take care of you. We'll give you a side trip into Milan."
Right.
So
and
this
it
was
a
just
wonderful
thrown
trip.
in for the benefit of our people.
And we do that all the time because we want people to see them as much as they possibly can.
Absolutely.
And
I want them to go back with me again too on another
Exactly.
trip. Yes.
That's true.
But it was really a treat rather than sit at the airport. So this was just something that was a gratis.
And it was very, very nice. It was this Galleria here. Of course, when we went through it that day, Milan is very famous for its soccer team, and boy, the soccer people were in there celebrating already, and they hadn't even played the game yet.
No, they went wild, and oh my gosh, they were drinking beer out of those huge glasses. I'm glad we were there fairly early because I don't want to be like later on in the evening.
Well,
a little more boisterous.
Probably very, very much so,
Yes.
because they. Really do support their soccer team. But this is a beautiful building inside. Of course, what you see here, there's apartments up above, as there are in other gallerias like this too, and shopping downstairs. But it'd be a little bit noisy to have an apartment up there, I think, especially when the guys were
especially
celebrating
during
down
soccer.
below.
Oh my gosh! No, you just go down and join them.
Right.
Now this is what is one of our very interesting places
Right.
too that we saw.
And of course, we are right here on the coast, and this is beautiful. This Roman
Caesarea.
theater, is Caesarea, and this wonderful group that was singing of other pilgrims that happened to be there the same time that we were. This was marvelous. They were a very enthusiastic group. But again, as I had mentioned before on the show that we took a look at here, Betty, they are doing so much in the way of excavations here. It was incredible.
Everywhere. But this is, of course, so remarkable for us because, remarkable, noteworthy, because this is where St. Paul was in prison, and then he started his voyage to other lands because,
Right.
they were after him too, so his disciples looked after him. But this was where St. Paul started his journey. So we have that to think about.
And there were many, many stories, too, about the people that actually were forced to go to the theater here.
Yes, they had no choice. That's right.
They had no choice. Now we're going to go on up to Nazareth, and of course we're taking a look at the Church of the Annunciation and the house in that sort of little grotto of the Blessed Virgin when the angel visited her and told her that she was to be the mother of Jesus. This is a magnificent structure, I think. It's really quite beautiful. It's on actually two or three different levels, and there's a lot of beautiful artwork in here, and of course we know that the Holy Father just visited here too not too long ago, and this is a very special place for us to visit in Nazareth.
Wonderful tribute. This is Monsignor Peterson's famous. What am I say? Famous. His favorite place. He loves this place in Nazareth.
Well, I think most of us probably, once you visited, do put this down as one of your favorite places. Now we're looking down into the area. Of course, the people lived in caves. Yeah, I want to say subterranean.
Yeah.
And there were probably at the time of Jesus only maybe 200 people that lived in the little village of Nazareth. It didn't amount to very much in those days, but
Can anything good come from Nazareth? Huh?
well, a lot of good stuff coming from there now.
Well, I mean, that was what
That
they
was the
saw when
saying.
they
That's
discovered
right.
who Jesus
That's
was.
right. We can see there a picture of the grotto going down inside, and there weren't very, very many houses there at the time. But another place that we really had a great time with, and that is at Capernaum on the north end of the Sea of Galilee. And we can see here again, the Franciscans did a wonderful job of excavating this area, and the old synagogue that was here too, which they have reconstructed, is very, very impressive, I think.
Yeah, St. Peter's mother's house was here too, where St. Peter lived there. Mother-in-law's house. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
all right. But anyway, the house was where she was. Jesus cured her. But so they built the church up over that
Over the house,
Yes,
right?
yes, to
over the
preserve
ruins
it.
of the house.
Yeah.
And here we see this, of course, was a synagogue right there, the late 4th century white synagogue, and that was built upon another synagogue. So
Why white synagogue? I didn't pay much attention to that sign. Why was it called a white synagogue?
you got me. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'll check that out the next
check that
time
out
and
next
let
time
you know.
could, go back to Israel.
Okay, that's an order.
The carvings have remained in very, very good condition over the centuries, haven't they? I mean, of course, they don't get violent weather here.
No, but
the weather stays pretty much the same.
This is just a few of the artifacts that were left because
lots
most
of
of this has all been rebuilt.
Right. And but of course, is rebuilt from the artifacts that were there.
Yeah.
Now we're going to hop over to the River Jordan, and of course, this is one of the areas where a lot of people are baptized or will go ahead and renew their baptismal vows. We should point out, though, this was not the place where Jesus received his baptism. That is another area which is very difficult now to get to, and it's still being controlled by political
Other
forces.
people,
Yes.
huh? We did recite our baptismal vows here again, but this has all changed since I first went there 14 years ago. So we were there 14 years ago,
Yeah.
and they've made it a little more commercial now. I kind of liked it more as a rustic place than the way it is today.
Well, I think one of the reasons, Betty, is because there are so many pilgrims that are going there, and they really have to have some sense of order, I think, to get everybody through there. But of course, this is always a great time for us when we can go out on the Sea of Galilee in one of these boats, and you go out and then turn the motor off, and you can sit right there in the middle of the Sea of Galilee, and it's very impressive, I think.
That's a wonderful opportunity to meditate, because you know what happened when Jesus spent so much of his time there on the Sea of Galilee, and you just look at the coast, and you can visualize how it must have been in his time.
Right, even though there are buildings we see in Tiberias and a little bit up in the area of Capernaum, not very much, however, because you don't see a lot of building around there. This, of course, is the Pigeon Valley, and if you would go through that pass, then you would go over to Nazareth from this particular area. I thought this was just like the first time I saw it. I thought, oh, this is the postcard.
Yeah, it's peaceful.
all I need to do is see a couple of camels wandering down, from this. Is absolutely beautiful. Yeah, it was really something. And of course, the very first time that we stayed there, we stayed right about where you're looking at in the middle of that. It was just a caboose.
Yeah,
caboose, the
it was
Guinness.
fun. They had great food.
It was good. Now this, of course, I love this picture because
That's
I
what
think
you wanted.
right.
You
Yeah,
wanted to
well, I
buy
couldn't
that.
afford that. Yeah, no, that even though it's carved out of olive wood, and of course there's a lot of work that's gone into it. But this, of course, must have been how the Last Supper really was. I mean, they weren't sitting in chairs; they were sitting around on the floor around a table like this. And but the artist did such a wonderful job. And,
That's it. See,
right, and look at the sandals are off the feet of some of the apostles, and remember they're serving wine, of course, at the Last Supper. And I sort of wonder, after this, when Jesus went up to the garden and he asked them if they couldn't stay awake because they did fall asleep, and I wondered if
might have been a little
wine.
Well,
wine,
they
right,
do give the wine in the convalescent hospitals to help the people go to sleep. So that makes a logical explanation.
So,
yes.
Anyway, this is in Bethlehem, of course, at the Bethlehem store, and every year that we go back, we seem to see more things and more unique things that some of the craftspeople are making.
The wonderful thing about it is when you bring home something, you are actually bringing it home from the olive trees that grew in Bethlehem, and that they are just part of the country, and it's so symbolic. Of course, you can buy the rosary beads, too, that from there and other artifacts.
Sure.
You don't have to buy the big stuff.
And these are the fellows downstairs that are the artisans that are working on all of the items that we do see here. A little bit of it's mechanized, but the end work has to all be done by hand. Yeah. And some of it right from the start as well, too. So there are carvers there as well. But
a lot of our people purchase things there, wonderful souvenirs, beautiful creches, handmade creches. There's things to be bought even on the street for if you don't want to invest a lot of money, and if you're looking just for a souvenir. And they're nice. They're just not handcrafted, but wonderful for little gifts to bring home to people.
And, of course, this is the Church of the Nativity, which naturally is also, of course, in Bethlehem, too. And those of you that watched Channel 49's coverage of the Holy Father's pilgrimage, you saw the Mass that was celebrated here. And this is quite a sight. They've done a lot of reconstruction around some of the area in Manger Square. And this is the actual entrance into the church itself. And of course, you notice that you have to kind of duck in to go in the door, right?
You do. You can't. It's like a camel going through the eye of a needle.
Might be. Anyway, this is the inside of the church here, and this particular portion of it, we should say churches actually, because again, this portion of it is Greek Orthodox on the main floor that we see there. But there are now down in the grotto, of course, where Bishop here is reverencing the very spot that tradition says that Jesus was born. And this is really quite moving for the person to go through this and to see this. And then the manger is over, just located a few feet from here. It's a very small area, and it is underneath the main altar of the Orthodox
Actually, it was
church.
a little disappointing to me. But, you know, I'm so realistic. I mean, I look at factual things, and once again, I'm looking for a real crib, and a baby's still in it, I suppose.
Well, close your eyes, Betty. You can visualize, right?
Visualize it.
Yeah. Right. Now, not far from there, and of course, just south of the town, I was going to say little town of Bethlehem, is a big town right now.
Yeah.
Of course, is
Yeah.
Shepherd's Field, and this is one of the caves where perhaps the shepherds took shelter. And of course, as we know from history that the people lived in the caves because they were warm in the wintertime and cool in the summertime. And it's a very, very rocky area. I always say, you know, you don't find very many level areas when you visit the Holy Land. Everything is up the hill and down the hill and a lot of rocks.
We had fun there. We had Mass, but we also sang. We sang Christmas carols, and this was in October.
November.
November?
Right, yeah.
We left,
Yeah, November. Yeah, in fact, I think we had it
we left
All Souls.
October 29th. That's right. Okay.
So this was, and this was really nice. Anyway, here we are, more of Bethlehem. Of course, as you can see, it is growing and continues to grow.
I hate it. I hate the growth.
Well, there's not much you can do about it.
I know.
It's going to move the camels and the donkeys out.
Yeah, that's what frightens me a little bit. I'm thinking when I see this tremendous growth in the hotels that are being built, maybe 7 years from now, 5 years from now, this will not be a tourist place anymore because every attraction will be gone because they will be building so close to it you won't be able to get to them. I don't know. I hate progress in this way, not in all progress, but for these holy places, I wish they could just leave them.
But of course, think if you were a resident of Bethlehem.
I'd hate it worse because they would be infringing, you know?
Well, that's progress, I suspect, you know, and of course we see that all over the world. Almost on any of the trips that we go to, we have seen more and more growth.
Look at the new Arab back there.
Yeah, how about that? We've got a few of them on this bus, right?
That's our bishop.
Did he trade that in from the pointy hat?
From the pointy hat.
Someone told me.
No, I think he kept it. But we had fun with those. We really did. And the man when we bought them, and had to put it on and decorated him, and it was fun. It was just getting into the spirit of where we were and what there was to do.
And, of course, back in Jerusalem, we're visiting here the Church of Dormition. This has a lot of beautiful mosaic artwork in it, I thought. Didn't you, Betty?
Yes. I saw this mosaic work everywhere we went. And I am so glad it's mosaic because paintings have a tendency to fade and they get soiled from the candles and stuff. But a mosaic stays pretty pristine, and I love that. This is a very, very different church. This is, like Marv said, the Church of the Dormition. And we believe that the Blessed Mother was laid there to rest. The story about it is really not complete in my mind. Can you add to it, Marv?
Well, as the church teaches, of course, that she was
taken up to heaven.
Right?
Yes.
And so, whether how long after her physical remains, I mean, after she died, I don't know.
We don't
think
really
anybody
know
knows
that, really. But this is in honor of the Blessed Mother,
Right.
and that's why it's called the Church of the Dormition.
And of course, this is the Damascus Gate, which is probably the most popularly photographed gate of the old city of Jerusalem.
And we were right down. We were right down the hill from it. We could walk down there, And it was wonderful.
It was great because where we were staying was right across the street from the old city, and that a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people stay up away, and then they have to either take a taxi or take a bus in. But we like this because you can just, if you want to go shopping in the old city, and you have to do that, you have to experience that, of course.
You
we're just
do?
Right there. Oh yes, you do.
Do you really have to shop, Marv?
Wait, you're the one that keeps taking people on shopping trips.
I know. I'm just teasing. That's part of it. That's part of traveling,
part of the fun.
Sure. Oh my gosh, this was one of my favorite places. I didn't go down this time.
Into Lazarus'
Into
tomb.
Lazarus' tomb. But I don't ever have an Easter that goes by that I don't bring this back to mind again. Well, it was, when I say Easter, that's not right at Easter time, but this is, I think of the tomb and the resurrection of Jesus himself, and it's a great place.
And how he resurrected Lazarus from here.
Yes.
And this, of course, goes way down, and those steps are a little slippery. You've got to really kind of hang on tight. So not everybody did go down here, but and when you got down to the bottom of it, there was a little bit more, a little further that you could go down as well. It went down quite a ways. I was surprised.
It's worth going down just to say, just to feel that this was the tomb where Lazarus' body lay before Jesus resurrected.
Told him to come forth.
Come forth, Lazarus. Yeah.
No, this was wonderful. There's of course, a church that is located right by here as well, and also, of course, a mosque. And so this is a holy site for at least a couple of.
You did a
major
good
religions.
job down there because it was dark.
Well, there wasn't very much light. That's very true.
That was good, Marv.
As we said, here was one of the mosques that was there, and then we have a large church as well that. Is there, and it is beautiful. And there's more mosaics, as you stated, in that church, and which we're taking a look at right now. This is the outside of it, and it's really, really quite beautiful. And of course, we had to visit Gabriel. Gabriel is so wonderful. He really is kind of our unofficial host in a way. Gabriel is one of the wholesalers that owns the company that we deal with, and he is so wonderful. He always invites us into his home for a party, so that you can say that you were in a true Arab's home in Jerusalem. And he's such a gracious man, don't you think so?
Oh, he's wonderful, and he's very Christian. They are a Christian group. Both he and his brother in Texas, and his wife.
And his wife, who we just saw, right?
Yeah.
Early one morning, I think it was about 5 o'clock that we got up.
It was early.
And, but this is the only way to do this. What I'm talking about is, of course, doing the Way of the Cross, or the Via Dolorosa. Because if you don't start at this hour of the morning, you will have difficulty just going through the Via Dolorosa, because as soon as the shops open and the people start coming by, and the little cars, coming by in trucks in these little tiny streets, not to mention the people that live there, and of course the other tourists that are there as well. But we had the opportunity to go ahead and carry the cross and walk the exact route that Jesus took.
It wasn't so bad once you woke up.
Oh no, it was great.
Really
it
was good, and not one person complained about it. It was a spiritual moment for these people.
No, I'd do that again in a minute, because this was really the way to do it. I remember once before when we did this, and we did it in the morning time or the middle of the day, and it was almost impossible.
Awful, yes.
But you think, you want to reverence this. You want to have some sort of a feeling that of what you're doing, and it's hard to do that when there's 50,000 people all around
pushing you.
This, of course, is the stone where Jesus' body was anointed. And while we were here, you probably saw again the Holy Father was here. Did you see that a couple of times? In fact, he went back. This is inside the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. And what a lot of people may not realize, in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre is actually the spot where Jesus was crucified, and of course where we see his body was anointed, and then also the tomb where Jesus' body was put, and of course from which he rose. And so we were here, and we were also looking at this beautiful mural that's up above too. This is so interesting.
That's not a mural there. Those are just people.
No, the mural's up above, right? Those are our people, as a matter of fact,
Yes.
and they're getting an explanation, I think, of the mural. It was really quite beautiful. Located down the way from that, of course, so we get up on the what is called the Temple Mount, and we see the Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is the third. That's not the mosque. We're looking at the Dome of the Rock. The mosque is right behind it. The third, someone called to correct me, the third most holy site for Muslims.
Oh, what did
Right.
we say? Second?
Yeah, we said second. We were wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Mecca is number one.
Mecca's number one. Medina is
It's
number
two.
two,
Okay.
and then Al-Aqsa is number three.
We've had that
I
on
hope I
our-
got that right.
I'm sure that's right. We had that on television not too long ago. Some program that was presented about
Mm-hmm.
the different explanations.
I love the mosaic work that we see in the tiles that are here outside of the Dome of the Rock, and this is quite a magnificent building, and it's stood for a few centuries as well. It's again, we were not allowed to take pictures inside, but if you do go to Jerusalem, that's
When
one of
you go.
when you go, right. When you go, right. When you go with Betty. That's it.
That
Okay,
is-
you saw this at Venice Square, but it's not Venice. It's actually Rome. But there is a square named Venice Square in Rome. This has been sort of an overview of the trip that we had, the wonderful trip that we had to
Yes.
Rome and to Israel, and it was just a magnificent trip.
I hope that you people that have been watching this have absorbed and enjoyed it as much as we have been in bringing it to you. It's truly a trip of a lifetime, and it's something that stays with you forever and ever.
That's true. And, of course, we will be going back again to Rome, and we go back also to the Holy Land every year. So if you're interested in any of these trips that we do have, and we have some exciting ones that will be coming up, we want to make sure that, Betty, that people do get in touch with you.
Oh yes, oh yes. We do go to many places, not just to the Holy Land, but we go to Turkey, and we're going to go to China next year. And now here we are back at going on to see the Holy Father, which we all figured was the highlight of our trip, and we want you to enjoy it once more with us.
Right. And so here he is, ladies and gentlemen, the Holy Father, and also our group from Fresno.
Pilgrims from the Diocese of Fresno.
Well, that just about wraps it up. If you're interested in our trips, give Betty a call at,
488-7443.
and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.